Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for those in the East, Far East watching. So, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to today's presidential lecture series, From Information to Action, Sustainability Across Houston. My name is Jason Morano. I'm the Vice President for Advancement and University Relations here at UHD, and I have the privilege of working alongside President Blanchard and other esteemed UHD colleagues to produce these very important events. As many of you are aware, this event serves as a platform for thought-provoking lectures and engaging discussions that unite our university community. Today's lecture focuses on a topic of paramount significance, sustainability in our great city of Houston and beyond, because I don't think it stops at our city limits, right? It keeps going. This timely discussion provides us with a unique opportunity to gather insights from our esteemed panel of experts as they delve into strategies for fostering resilience and vitality in an urban landscape while conscientiously stewarding our environment. By exploring innovative approaches and best practices, we aspire to not only enhance our city's livability, but also contribute meaningfully to global sustainability efforts. So go H-Town. The University of Houston Downtown prides itself on being an institution where ideas and perspectives are welcomed and shared through these type of platforms. It is through these platforms we get an opportunity to listen and interact with our leaders of industry, policymakers, plus local and national experts so that we can better be informed and equipped to take on the challenges of an ever-changing world. Before I introduce our moderator, it is a great pleasure to introduce to you President Loren J. Blanchard to share his welcome and greetings. Dr. Blanchard.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Zambrano, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you all here to what is our third chapter in our President's Lecture Series, and obviously the title is all in front of us in terms of our focus, if you will, on sustainability. I should say that if you have not had the chance to see ABC News, that earlier today I felt like we had a pep rally for today's event because we had our esteemed Dr. Morano did an interview that really just laid it out very beautifully in terms of not only the work that we are working to achieve here at the University of Houston Downtown, but more importantly, to understand the different perspectives that we will hear today that really helps the city of Houston in all of its multi ways to ensure that we're a more sustainable environment. So I'm really excited about today's panel discussion. I always say that each time we do one, that it just can't get any better, but I know that this one is really going to reach the top for us, and I'm really excited about it. So today's panelists represent a cross-section of interdisciplinary environmental work, including news reporting to raise awareness and educate the community on environmental care, conservancy, which protects natural landscapes, green construction, which is the foundation to sustainability in a growing society, and social practice art with an emphasis on urban ecology. So we've got a range of fields and voices here today that I know that they will share with us from their wealth of experience, and I have no doubt that they'll leave us each with a challenge to do more in support of the health of our own environment, and more importantly, the health of UHD and the health of the city of Houston. So I'll turn it over now, I think, back to Jay, who's going to introduce our moderator, who then will introduce our panelists, and then we'll get everything going. Welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Dr. Blanchard. And before I introduce our moderator, which I think many of you all know already, I do need to do a little housekeeping. There is a mic over there. Just wanted to point everyone to the mic. So that's our spot for the Q&A. So if you all have, that way we're recording this, so make sure that we hear everybody. So now I'd like to introduce our moderator, who, like Dr. Blanchard said, will introduce our panelists. Dr. Lisa Morano is a professor of biology and microbiology at the University of Houston Downtown, where she also serves as the director of the Center for Urban Agriculture and Sustainability. With an enthusiastic dedication to advancing scientific knowledge and fostering sustainable practices, Dr. Morano's illustrious career spans both in research and education. At the forefront of her research endeavors lies a profound exploration of the intricate relationship between plants and their bacterial counterparts. Specializing in plant microbiology, Dr. Morano investigates the diverse array of bacteria inhabiting plants, from beneficial endophytes to insidious pathogens. I hope I said that right. Her research not only illuminates the complex interplay within plant ecosystems, but also holds profound implications for our agricultural sustainability and ecosystem health. Dr. Morano's scholarly pursuits extends beyond the laboratory, encompassing numerous USDA and IFA-funded initiatives aimed at enhancing agricultural education and innovation. Through her leadership at CUAS, she spearheads the development of cutting-edge curriculum and experiential learning opportunities, empowering students to engage directly with issues at the nexus of urban agriculture and sustainability. Dr. Morano is clearly one of our all-star professors here at UHD, and I can go on and on about her. We are honored to call her our colleague and applaud her dedication as a scholar and an educator, which we know inspires our students every day to become agents of positive change. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Lisa Morano.
That was awesome. All right, well, welcome everyone. I am super excited to have this collection of guests with us today, and I just want to spend some time telling you about each of them. The first one is Anna Bueno. Raise your hand. Okay, great. So Anna Bueno is an environmental reporter at Univision 45. She's an Emmy Award-winning journalist specializing in environmental issues and climate change. In 2021, she was part of a traineeship carried out by the Climate Reality Project for LATAM. In 2023, she was one of 10 fellows at the University of Rhode Island's Metcalf Institute, representing the only journalist to represent a Spanish-speaking outlet. She's also attended multiple workshops, including Covering Marine Pollution, hosted by Earth Journalism Network. Anna believes climate change is the biggest story a journalist can cover. Through her work, she's trying to leave a better planet for future generations and stop the language barrier that exists between the media, the authorities, and the community that is looking for environmental justice. Let's give her a round. Okay, our next person I want to introduce is Jaime Gonzalez. Thank you. So Jaime Gonzalez is an award-winning conservationist, environmental educator, public speaker, and coalition builder, working at the intersection of human health, biodiversity conservation, equity, and climate action. He works to influence policy, secure funding, catalyze planning, and embed community-based projects that unlock the power of nature for community well-being and environmental health. Jaime serves as board chair for the North American Association for Environmental Education, as a board member for Madres de Parque, and as a climate justice advisor to Harris County. He formerly worked for the Nature Conservancy, the Coastal Prairie Conservancy, Houston Arboretum and Nature Center, and the Nature Heritage Society. All right. And next we have Naomi Kuo. Naomi Kuo is a Taiwanese-American mixed media and social practice artist based in Houston, Texas. Her recent work features zines, quilts, and experimentation with recycled materials. Her projects also often integrate community-based and collaborative modes, such as oral histories, skills sharing, and exchanges to help diverse communities strengthen connections of care with each other and the environment. She has an MFA in studio art, social practice, at the City University of New York, Queens College, and a BFA in English and Studio Art from Texas A&M, or Texas, oh, I almost screwed up, didn't I? University of Texas, Austin. Yeah, that would have been bad. Her artwork has been exhibited in the Queens Art Museum, Houston City Hall, Houston Climate Justice Museum, and in 2023, she was a recipient of the Idea Fund grant and is an artist in residence at the Asia Society Texas Center. Okay, and last we have Steve Stelzer. He has 30 years of diverse architectural firm experience in Houston. He was he's recently retired director of the Green Building Resource Center. Steve offered green building strategies for plans brought in by the public, developed and maintained green strategy displays, coordinated green building tours, and facilitated educational programs for over 16 years. He's currently president of the board of directors of the Citizens Environmental Coalition nonprofit. He's also served as board of the American Institute of Architects in Houston, U.S. Green Building Council's Gulf Coast Region chapter, and as vice chair of the City of West University Place's Recycling and Solid Waste Reduction Board. He has a Bachelor's of Science in Architecture from Ohio State and a Master's of Business Administration from the University of Houston. Let's give him a round of applause. All right, thank you. So, before we get started with the questions, just a couple of other housekeeping things. One, if you didn't get a lunch, it looks like we're going to have plenty. So even if you didn't RSVP, you can come get a lunch. Also, after you're done with your lunch, there's trash cans at the back where you can practice your recycling abilities. We have them separated by trash, recyclable materials, and compost materials. We will be putting the recycle into our new recycle programs, bins that are guaranteed clean recycle that are in the Science and Technology building, and the compost will go into the UHD compost. So make sure you do that before you go. Yeah. All right, so what we're going to do is I have some prepared questions, and then after we do that for a while, we're going to open it up for questions from you guys. Sound good? All right, here we go. So we're going to start with this first general question about sustainability. So one definition of sustainability is to create a system where future generations will have access to the same resources and opportunities as the current generation. Another way of thinking about sustainability is to create a system that supports economic strength, environmental health, and social stability. Systems that don't have all three will not be stable into the future. From the perspective of your particular area of expertise, what does sustainability mean to you? And we are going to get to all people, so whoever wants to go first.
Okay, well, can you guys hear me? All right, super. Excellent question, and thank you, President Blanchard and Lisa and others for having us here today. I think from my perspective, in terms of giving future generations, including my 9-year-old, a chance at a thriving life and a thriving place and a safe place to live on Earth. I work at the intersection, as Lisa said, of human health, environmental health, and biodiversity health and equity. And everything about our future path is dependent on the health of the natural world, whether you live outside of the city or inside the city. And that's not just in the future, it's right now. There are communities here that don't have enough healthy nature, and it impacts their quality of life, their health, their economic prospects, everything. And one thing that we don't oftentimes see is that the natural world is unraveling at a rate that we've never seen before. And I don't mean to shock anybody, but I read lots of reports about biodiversity decline, and that may sound kind of esoteric and kind of but if the actual fabric of life disintegrates, we can't protect human beings that we love. We have a chance of losing 1 million species by 2050, and that may sound sad because nobody wants to lose species, but if you look at the UN's data on creating conditions for healthy, thriving human communities on the planet, they have a number of goals, and if we lose that 1 million species, 87% of those goals will decline. We are wholly dependent on the fabric of life here in the city and outside the city. So from my perspective, making sure that we can make it 7 generations down the line mean that even if you don't like insects, the bugs, we need them. And we need to rebuild nature in the middle of the city for human thriving, to be protected from climate change, and for justice and fairness.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna let's clap. Let's do it. One brave soul did it. I was like, no, it's a great idea. The rest of us are in shock. We're just like, oh, that was great.
Okay, deciding whether to go down the line or popcorn. Yeah, very honored to be here as well, to be surrounded by such distinguished persons on this panel. Well, I think being an artist in itself is somewhat unsustainable personally and financially at times, where it's really hard to find one's way. But it's been interesting to think about what someone needs in their personal life and career is similar to what we as a community need, what the environment needs. So just linking those, very human needs, recognizing them within like your own busy life and your ambitions, those being mental health, healthy communities, meaningful, deep connections, and kind of linking that to like the health of the soil, like the kind of noticing the things around you. I think those are things that practices that artists can bring, can emphasize for all of us. And so I think just like whatever you're doing and learning and inspiring to, kind of integrating all those like levels of needs, I think is a good way to go about it. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, considering those three factors of environment, economic, and social, we tend to see them like separately, like as each one in the corner, right? And the way that I learned to see that is the best way to explain it is through my hand, So this will be the environment, this will be our economic system, and then right in the middle, it's us. As you can tell, the environment is hugging us, actually. So we cannot have anything if the environment is not good. Actually, doing a follow-up with Jaime, when I saw your beautiful butterfly, your monarch, now with these temperatures that are coming and going, and are even warmer than usual, in a season that it's not supposed to, what is happening is that now everything that is now like blooming is not in the right moment for the butterfly to pass by and then get all the food that it needs. And everything is connected. And for example, who loves avocado and guacamole? Yeah, that's right. A lot of it comes from Mexico, from Michoacan, especially for Super Bowl. And what happens is that everyone is deforesting that area for all the aguacates that the US wants. And the bad thing is that that specific area has a tree that actually the butterfly needs, just like food, and now it doesn't have it. So everything is connected. We went to Mexico and then we come here and we enjoy the Super Bowl, but everything is connected, and we cannot see, if we are going to talk about being sustainable, we have to consider that the first thing that matters 24/7, the whole year, the whole season, is environment. If we have a sick environment, then we don't have an economy. We don't have a place to take all the resources that we need for everything, for having this building, for having our food, that I think that's the most important thing. And then we as a society will be sick. And we can see that with the pollen alerts, with all the pollution. And definitely for me, sustainable is considering that the environment is hugging everything. It's not a part of us. Right. It's actually what we need. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for having us. It's really fun. I think sustainability, there's a couple of recent lines I've been using in the presentations I do. So sustainability is kind of the ability to exist, and it's being co-opted around the business world a lot, like the sustainability of my business. Yeah, okay, great. So my favorite line now is sustainability in the 21st century is the ability for humanity to coexist with the environment. And that's what we're not doing so well. We're coexisting. We're both here, right? But like Jaime said, I guess I'm a believer of the climate scientists. And so, I kind of walk around and I don't want to say dread, but let's just say, like I'm in that much dread all the time, okay? So what can you do about it? My other favorite line these days for trying to get across to people is business as usual got us into this mess, so more of it isn't going to get us out of it. So I've learned a lot from just subscribing to, a lot of sustainable newsletters and things, and I've read a lot of sustainable books. And so I encourage everyone, if you want to really try to do something, first of all, you're not going to do it by yourself. I mean, nobody's saved the planet single-handedly yet, okay? But, how can we play our part, and how can we, sort of develop a voice, right? How can you raise your voice? How can you, so I just encourage people to get into nonfiction and read some of these brilliant works out there if you want to understand what you can possibly do from your point of view, your context in the world, and then do something.
Wonderful, thank you. And that is going to be one of my later questions. Okay, so my first, after the intro question, my next set of questions, I made a question for each of you, a special question for each of you. So first up is Anna. Social stability requires that citizens in a community be treated equitably and that no one group be burdened with the negative impacts the economy gains by through the system. Based on your experience with environmental justice, can you talk to us about examples of injustices that need to be addressed to bring social stability into the system? I mean, probably you could for like a year, but you've got a couple.
I was about to ask how
you have
long,
a couple minutes.
how much time do I have for this? Gosh, environmental justice. I think there's a lot to do, especially with language. Houston is a huge city, and nearly 2.3 million of residents are Hispanics or identify as Hispanics. And what I've learned since I arrived into the city and I started to know more my community and the one that I served the most is a lack of information in their own language. So definitely, we cannot talk about environmental justice without language justice. For example, I know that nowadays agencies, business, everyone is doing an effort to translate into Spanish if they're going to have a public meeting, if they're going to give a grant, if they have to deliver any type of information, they do the effort of translating. I do this because Google Translate doesn't do appropriate work, We have to pay someone to do that job and do it in a proper way. One of the things and actually that's also a barrier for my job, because